Right, good morning. Now, moving along with the Heritage Softail paint project, today I want to weld up all the unnecessary holes in these here rusty old fenders. Right, and as I said in the last video, these bikes are very retro and they come with these big old chromy plastic ornaments that screw to the front of the front fender, like that, and down here on the bottom rear end of the rear fender, like that, like a great big chrome rear bumper. Now, it's obviously of its design, of its era, but I hate these to death. They're awful. The chrome on them, plastic chrome plating, is past its sell-by date and not repairable. So I'm going to eliminate those, just get rid of them altogether. And therefore, the holes that they screw through to need to be welded up and eliminated. Also, on the bottom rear edge of this front fender, you have this big old fat trim plate that just screws straight over the top. It's no longer, it's exactly the same length as the metalwork, but it's just a trim thing, and I think it's traditional. I think these things go back to the 1950s bikes, but again, this is past its sell-by date, it's corroded, it's scratched, it's a bit dented, and it's thin aluminium, horrible. So all the holes that that's screwed to the fender with, not needed, so I'm going to weld them up. And hopefully that will go some way to bringing the bike bang up to date and give it a much more modern look. So without further ado, let's get set up and make a start. There we are, all ready to go. Now, with these holes I've got to weld up, they're about 1/4 of an inch in diameter or less. So with all of them, I can just plug weld them up one after another, no problem at all, except for two. There's two holes down the back here of the rear fender, and they are far too big to plug weld. They would have had a wiring harness go through, and they're going to need a little metal plate. So let's make that plate first. Ready to go. Now, the welders out there will already be saying, that's wrong, incorrect, you need to make a piece of metal exactly the same shape as those holes and weld it in flush, then grind it back. Yes, you should, quite correct, but you should only really do that with brand new virgin metal. Obviously, try and do it to metal that's rusted on the inside and on the outside. You're going to blow holes in it. Also, at the same time, trying to grind it back nice and flush. It's going to grind through it. It's going to make it thinner than it already is. Destabilize it. It might crack in the future. That's disaster for all the work I'm putting into it. I don't want to replace the fender. I want to save it. So this way, yes, it's second best. But if I put that patch on there, weld it on the back, I've actually thickened up the metal in that point. I've made it stronger. I've improved its integrity, and it's backed those two holes with steel. So I can put some bridging filler over them, a little bit bit of finishing filler and bodywork it so it's not even there. That will be the best solution. It is second best, but sometimes second best has merits that are worth it. Now, the result, that gives me two little indentations, 1 millimetre deep. I can spread in there a very thin layer of bridging filler, then some finishing filler over the top and bodywork it, and nobody will know it was ever there. Anyway, that's that bit done. Now let's get on with plug welding all the holes. And if you've never heard of it before, plug welding is the process of plugging up unwanted holes. You quite simply take a big chunk of non-ferrous metal, either brass or aluminium or something that the weld won't stick to. You block off the back of the hole completely and then you weld it up. Start on the outside and spiral in towards the centre. And what you should be left with is a little bump that you can just grind flat. Now I'm going to make a start down here on the rusty zone. We'll see how that goes. It should spit and pop a little bit because it's rusty metal, but the rest of them up in the clean metal zone and on the other one, they should be a nice, easy, smooth weld all the way. Let's see. Right, what we got left? So these at the front, that holds ECU on. These all hold the fender on itself. That's for the rear light. That's for the number plate bracket. That's for the indicator bar, and that's for the wiring that runs it. So that's it. Everything on the rear that I don't need is done. Let's do the front. 1920. 2, 3, 4, 25 holes. 25 holes to weld up. Better get busy. Right, there we go. Now that's every unnecessary hole welded up and ready for the paint shop. Now, if you've been following this channel for any length of time, you'll know that whenever it comes to painting my bodywork, I have the privilege of taking it to a paint booth a couple of doors down. Now, I haven't mentioned this yet because it hasn't become relevant until now. But sadly, at the back end of last summer, my very good friend who had owned the business for some 40 odd years finally succumbed to the rigours of a long-running illness and passed away. And after much consideration, his family decided to just shut the business down and sell everything off. So unfortunately, the paint booth I used to use for all of the wonderful paint jobs I've done in the past is no longer available to me, so I've had to make other plans. So I'll be using another local paint shop to do the work on this bike, and the guys there are not willing to have cameras in or to let me do the work as my friend was previously, and that seriously was a privilege. But they have said that we can reach some sort of agreement where we share the work. That means that I get to do all the prep to their standard, and that will be a great learning curve because it will be certainly higher than my standard. And once that's done, they will do the paintwork and they will turn out a result that they're willing to put their name to. So with that all understood, this is where we are so far. I've stripped the bodywork off the bike, stripped the paint off the fenders, and welded up all the holes. Next, these two fenders only will go to the paint shop for 4 coats of 2K sealer, both inside and out. Then they'll come back to me and I can do all the filling and sanding and smooth everything out so they're absolutely flawless. And finally, with the fuel tank, I've got to block sand every little blemish out of it, fill any if I have to, and make that tank as immaculate and as flawless as both the fenders. Then all 3 pieces will go back to the paint shop again for 4 coats of 2K primer, and then back to me one last time for a full block sand to get them absolutely flawless and ready for paint. Now personally, I've never done this meticulous level of prep on paintwork before, but these guys are known for show-winning motorcycle paint. So if I get my bit right, hopefully together, that's what we're going to achieve. So as you can see, it's a long old process and we're well underway. I'll see you next time.